Friends, in today's episode, I'll speak on metabolism. Friends, metabolism is the most important part of human understanding. Metabolism decides about your health, your fitness, your wellness. As I always say in my podcast shows, Thakna Mana Hai. If you have the right metabolism, you will not get fatigued. So you have to understand what exactly is metabolism. Metabolism talks about your core, your attitude, your fitness level, and every human being, based on the phenotype, have a different pattern of metabolism. Now, what exactly is metabolism? Metabolism is converting your food and drinks into some form of energy, and that typically happens when you eat food. The food gets carried away to the cells, and the oxygen and the food, which is what is called oxidative phosphorylation, produces certain energies in the form of packets called ATPs, and depending upon the requirement of the body, it is used, and the rest is stored in the body. A typical example is that whenever you eat, say, chapati, this is a carbohydrate which gets oxidized at a tissue level, what is called oxidative phosphorylation. It produces ATPs through a enzymatic cycle called Krebs cycle. And normally one carbohydrate gives you 36 ATPs. So depending on the requirement, use so much of ATPs, and the rest is stored in the body. This is called gluconeogenesis. So friends, you have to understand that every human being has a different metabolism. But before we talk about your personalized metabolism and type of phenotypes, phenotypic metabolism, we have to understand what are the three important components of metabolism. The most important factor of metabolism is the basal metabolic rate. It's called BMR, or resting metabolic rate. That decides about your, thakna mana hai. And basal metabolic rate, it is the basal, metabolism, or the energy, spent for basic activities like breathing, digestion, hormonal repair, cellular repair, building block of the body, your thinking process. So it needs certain amount of energy. And let me tell you, the 60 to 70% of the total energy is the basal metabolic rate. So if your basal metabolism is high, that means you will be energetic. It should not be too high, it should not be too low. Then comes another form of energy called energy of thermogenesis, that talks about you need certain amount of energy to absorb your food for, for certain enzymatic reactions. The nutrients needs energy, and this is about 10% of the total energy. Then of course you have the energy expenditure of activity, which is called the physical activity, which can go up to 20 to 30%. So friends, you have to understand, unnecessarily going into physical activity doesn't give you the right kind of optimum fitness. You have to understand that your metabolism should be good. Your BMR should be very healthy. And the BMR is a function of your right healthy habits, your good sleep, it's your right kind of exercise, balanced nutrition. So we'll be talking all those things in our different podcast shows. But one thing you have to understand, that if your metabolism is low, like if your BMR is low, then it takes a lot of time to go to the next level, what is called the energy of thermogenesis, energy expenditure activity. For example, I tell you, suppose your, say, basal metabolic rate is 50. That means to go, first you have to go to the 70, then finally go to the next level, what you call the energy which you require for the absorption of food, called thermogenesis, and finally the physical activity. The person who has a low metabolism, they will take a lot of time to enjoy or do that kind of physical activity. So the first understanding of the metabolism, or the right kind of optimum fitness, is you have to keep your metabolism at bay, and that should be very optimal with 60 to 70%. So how can we enhance your basal metabolism rate? Good amount of fluid intake. Unless and until contraindicated, you should be consuming about 35 ml per kg body weight of fluid requirement, around 2000 to 3000 ml per day, depending upon the activity. Then of course the right nutrients. It is said that the kind of food you eat, that also decides your basal metabolic rate. If your protein intake in the form of seeds and the right kind of proteins are high in the first half of the body, say in the morning hours, in the early morning hours, So that it can enhance your metabolism by up to 30%. Like for example, when you compare with a fatty food and a protein-rich food, there is a difference, and fatty food gives you an BMR rise of hardly 2 to 3%, whereas a good healthy protein can give you a BMR rise of up to 30%. That means suppose you have a lot of seeds in the morning and say whey proteins like chena, what we call it, so you can enhance your metabolisms even if you have little chana in the morning. So see to it, if you are a very healthy eater, so enhance your protein intake. Number 3, also what kind of phenotypes you are having. Now, metabolism is basically, divided into 3 types based on the phenotypes. There are 3 types of individuals. One is called ectomorphic, mesomorphic, and endomorphic. Now, who are ectomorphic? Ectomorphics are very skinny persons. They are usually very lean, what I call a lemon and stick appearance. They don't gain weight, and usually they are very hyperactive when their metabolism is very high, and they usually have a flat chest. But that doesn't mean they are very healthy. They also need the right kind of nutrition and exercise. But usually they have a high metabolism, and they are very they're very short film. Then comes the mesomorphic. The mesomorphics have big structure, large muscle mass. They have broad shoulders, broad structures. Mesomorphic usually have their metabolism is optimal, and since they have a good muscle mass, they can build muscles very fast. And if they don't do the right kind of workouts, they can develop fat. Also, usually tend to gain weight at the truncal area. But they are the ones, they can have an ideal metabolism. It's not too low or too high. They need specific exercises and muscle trainings to enhance their metabolism. And they have a usually thick muscle. Then comes the the stocky ones, what you call endomorphic. They are stocky, short necks. They have low muscles, are healthy, but usually they are fatigue people. They usually have low metabolism. So based on your core, you can have certain personalized techniques to enhance your metabolism. And of course, there are certain diseases which can either increases your metabolism or decrease your metabolism. Like for example, certain hormonal disorders. If you have an excess thyroid level in the body, what you call hyperthyroidism, that can enhance your metabolism. So you can tend to lose more weight. And there are on the other side, which is very rampant, is hypothyroidism, where you tend to gain weight. So the core understanding is that calorie in versus calorie out. So whatever you do, whatever the profession whatever you're doing, so you have to do that. The right kind of output is more important with the right kind of intake. And at the same time, you have to understand that you should not be going low in calories. You should know what kind of calorie requirement you require it. And as I always say, the rule of 35, you need 35 ml per kg body weight of water, sedentary, and 35 ml per kg idle weight, your calorific requirement. Normally in a male, they require a normal high calories. They require around 7,000 kilojoules per day, and women require around 6,500, 900 kilojoules. So there are so many factors you have to keep in mind. The kind of phenotype you have got, just I mentioned, whether you're ectomorphic, endomorphic, or mesomorphic. Then what kind of nutrition you are playing, what is your water intake, do you have any underlying disorders or not, how good is your sleep, because sleep also affects your metabolism. Because if you have a sleep disorder breathing, there could be rise of certain hormone called leptin that can induce more obesity. Then and of course there are certain metabolic disorders also, which your doctor can discuss about it, like disorder of fructose absorption, disorder of conversion of carbohydrate, what you call galactosemia, phenylketonuria, where the disorder of the amino acid metabolism. So these are the different metabolism which your doctor can decide. But let me tell you, if you really want to go into the next level, if you really want to understand a life well lived, if you really want to program your life well, if you really want to achieve it holistic wellness, or what we call 360 wellness, if you want to have a little well-oiled body and well-nourished body, and what I call the thakna mana hai. So most important things, you have to enhance your metabolism. And metabolism can only be understood only thing if you follow these basic rules. So dear friends, follow these basic rules. Get up in the morning, have a lot of seeds which enhances metabolism because they're concentrated protein. Have your breakfast with a lot of protein. Take plenty of fluids. Fluids is also increase your metabolism. Do specific exercises, and exercises we classify into two types: isometric and isotonic. You should go for an isotonic exercise which build up the muscles, because you remember, lean muscle, that is the look. You should have a lean look. Lean muscle takes out the maximum metabolism. Fat takes the least. A fatty body has the least metabolism, and the lean mass have the maximum metabolism. So lean look, lean mass should be the mantra, and go for an isotonic exercise. Instead of making the bulky muscles, you have to have a very lean look. If you have more the leaner look, less the fat, more is the metabolism. So you have to go for a leaner. For that, you have to have very structured exercise, isotonic exercises like aerobic exercise, cardio exercise, cycling, swimming, all those cardio exercises, and structure weight training. Resistive bands plays a very important role called therabands, which gives you a very lean look. Then, of course, the right nutrition and wholesome nutrition with a lot of fibers, and the food should have a low glycemic index, where the carbohydrate rise is low, as we have discussed before, and also we'll be discussing in other podcast shows, that your food should have a low glycemic. And also, if you want to increase your calorie intake, you use nuts which has got less of saturated fat. They are good fats. They are unsaturated fats. So you have to understand the combination of seeds, nuts, fresh foods, proteins, the right kind of low glycemic foods, and make a very holistic understanding of the nutrition. Then, of course, as I mentioned, the right kind of exercise and good sleep. And talk to your doctor if you feel excessively sluggish, or you're losing weight too much, or you're gaining weight too much. So whenever you have this kind of situation, what you call, when you're either catabolic, that means you're losing weight too fast, then you have to report to your doctor. You should go for an anabolic. That is the right base. The balance is a key. And friends, 3 key points. Thakna mana hai. If you're low fatigue, talk to your doctor. If you're gaining weight, talk to your doctor. If you're losing weight, talk to your doctor. Write to your comment box. If you have any issues, get back to us. Thank you so much. Stay connected. And if you love this podcast shows, please share with your friends. Thank you so much. Take care.